Okay, co-host of First Take, Stephen A. Smith, joins us now on Coast to Coast. Spurs beat the Rockets, Stephen A., in overtime. Kawhi Leonard injured in that game. If he is not 100%, is the series over for the Spurs?
Well, I think they're gonna lose Game 6. I think he'll be ready for Game 7 in some capacity, and you never know what can happen in a Game 7. And Houston's too haphazard to trust. Do I believe they'll win this series? I believe they're coming into this series. I thought they'd win it in 6 games. They should have won last night's game as far as I was concerned, but that's on them. In the end, they could win this series, but they're too haphazard. They rely solely on their perimeter shooting. You push the ball up the floor so you can get your shooters open shots because you're not a half-court offense. Clint Capella is not a back-to-the-basket player. That's not what you want to lean on in order to win a basketball game against the San Antonio Spurs, one of the elite defensive teams in the game. You want Eric Gordon. You want a Ryan Anderson. You want a Lou Williams, even Patrick Beverley, who's played well in this series. You want them shooting the basketball. If you're not, you don't want them shooting contested shots. You want to create open shots. It's easier to do in transition than it is after allowing San Antonio to get back on defense in their half-court sets. Houston pushes the ball and get these guys shots. They win this series. They don't do that, they lose this series. It's that simple. Whether San Antonio has Kawhi Leonard or not, Houston is not a half-court offensive team.
All right, so let's talk about that game last night. You mentioned the word haphazard. Harden had 9 turnovers on the night, 3 in overtime. Do you believe they gave the game away?
Of course they did. They did because Kawhi Leonard got hurt with about 2 to 3 minutes left in regulation. Kawhi Leonard's not going to be out. You're supposed to win that game. He's the star, averaging 25.5 points, being one of the leading candidates for league MVP honors, defending adroitly against James Harden in the past. You definitely want him out on the court. You don't have him. What do you have? You have Jonathan Simmons because Tony Parker is not there either. You've got Patty Mills, an aging Pau Gasol, aging Manu Ginobili, and unreliable LaMarcus Aldridge. That's what you have. And so you definitely should have won that game, but you gave it away. But I don't just blame James Harden in terms of his turnovers. Clearly shouldn't have turned the ball over. Sloppy on his part. But I think it was about fatigue. He played 43 minutes, and the ball was in his hands practically every single possession. You can actually hide a player when they're on the court, which is something D'Antoni didn't do. When you want to give players a rest, Kerry, okay, you want to get them off the ball, let James Harden get off the ball, go hide in the corner for a few seconds during possessions or what have you, just to be a decoy if nothing else, so he can catch his breath. But D'Antoni not only kept him on the floor, but he had the ball in James Harden's hands practically every time. And when that happens against a Spurs defense, that makes you very, very predictable, regardless of the greatness of James Harden. And as a result, it played into San Antonio's hands and made Jonathan Simmons look like a star for one night.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Was he tired? That was my next question. You answered it.
He was tired. He was definitely tired.
I want to ask you this, and I know that you have a different take on this than what we've been hearing, but I'm referring to Isaiah Thomas and Draymond Green. Isaiah Thomas was asked about Kelly Olynyk being a dirty player because that was what Draymond Green said. He said he's not one to talk. Isaiah saying that about Draymond. Draymond then tweeted, you know, just get through that series, bro. Whose side are you on in this, Stephen A? Is it wrong for either one of them to be popping off at this moment?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I didn't think that Draymond Green was right in what he said about Kelly Olynyk, but I think that people are being excessive about Draymond Green because of the 53 technical fouls. Draymond Green gets in trouble because of his mouth. Yes, he's kicked a couple of people in the groin. That is not a good thing. I am a man. I am here to tell you that is not a good thing. But the flip side to that is I don't recall Draymond Green separating Kevin Love's shoulder like Kelly Olynyk did 2 years ago, which forced Kevin Love to miss the rest of the playoffs, and a legitimate argument could be made it cost the Cleveland Cavaliers a title. You remember, Kyrie Irving went down in overtime of Game 1 of that finals. LeBron James played like a man possessed but had absolutely no help. The second best player on the squad for him was Matthew Dellavedova. If Kevin Love had been there, who knows what would have happened, because Golden State had not yet learned how to win a championship. They were en route to that. So you take that into consideration. I don't recall Draymond Green doing something like that to anybody else. He can talk. Isaiah Thomas can come back and talk. Neither of them are wrong. I think it's great for the sport. I love it personally. Okay. And I think Draymond is right in telling Isaiah, handle your business because you might not win this series against the Wizards while we expect to be in the NBA Finals. But to compare Draymond Green to Kelly Olynyk, I'm sorry, I don't see that comparison, regardless of the number of attempts he has compared to Kelly. He's played in 71 playoff games. Kelly Olynyk is in 18. Let's pump the brakes.
All right, you say that you agree with Draymond. They should try to just get through that series. Game 5 tonight, does Isaiah go off or do the Wizards handle business?
Isaiah goes off and the Wizards still handle business. As far as I'm concerned, I think Scott Brooks has figured it out. I had a problem with how he handled things in the first 2 games because Isaiah Thomas wasn't being doubled or tripled. And not only that, on the defensive side of the floor, he was allowed to hide in the weak side in the corner where he was defending no one because whether it was Otto Porter or somebody else, Scott Brooks just had them standing there and nobody was attacking this 5'9" dude trying to defend other players. Now, if he's on John Wall attacks him. If he's on Bradley Beal, Beal attacks him. Otto Porter attacks him. Bogdanovich attacks him. That's how it's supposed to be. Make sure that you're making Isaiah Thomas work on both ends, and when he's got the ball on offense, trap him, double him, triple him, force somebody else to beat you. Let's see what Avery Bradley has, Crowder has, Marcus Smart has, Olynyk, even Al Horford, who's been hitting threes. Let's see what they have when the game wanes. Palms get sweaty at that particular moment in time. Let's see what they have. We know what Isaiah can do. Get the ball out of his hands and force somebody else to beat you. That's what Washington has been doing. I think it's what they will continue to do. It will be tough. It will be tight. But somehow, some way, I suspect that we're going to see the same Wizards squad that closed out Atlanta in Atlanta. They're going to show up in Boston tonight. Wall will handle his business. Game 6 will be back in Washington Friday night where they will advance to the conference finals. But they obviously got to win tonight.
All right, that's Stephen A's take on who wins tonight. I appreciate you joining us here on Coast to Coast, my friend.